What I'm going to be going through is a bunch of tips to crush virtuals. Like I said, I would absolutely take notes on this. One thing that I would say is, I told you guys earlier that I was going to repeat this, but to me, the most powerful thing that you could do to connect with somebody and build a relationship is just to be genuine and vulnerable. Like sharing goals, explaining to people, hey, like I know it is crazy right now, and the only reason that I'm reaching out to you is because like this really is important to me, and I don't want this to derail me from, being financially stable or being able to help my parents or whatever it is, whatever you're working towards. That's something that you should be sharing, and it's just being genuine and vulnerable, like being real with people. People appreciate that, and I would say one quick thing is making sure if you don't send the email that's on morrismayhem.com/v and like send the link the day of, people are going to forget about your virtual. And also you don't want to send it in a text. Otherwise people are going to watch the virtual on their phones. But getting good at virtual demos is something that is going to help you dramatically improve your in-home presentations and as a representative, right? So when I started doing virtuals, I was not very good at virtuals. I actually started doing virtuals before there was actually a company virtual demo. When I did virtuals in 2011, the way that I did virtuals was not PowerPoint or slides or whatever. Back in the day, there were no prices on Cutco's website. And I literally would like tell them to go to a page on Cutco's website, then tell them to go to another page. And I sent them an email that had like a link to like a price comparison for Henkel's and a link to our guarantee page. And I sold $26,000 on virtuals before there was a slideshow, right? Like I literally had to be like, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. And in this part, you'll see a link to this. I remember hating virtuals at first. And then I remember calling a woman to book a demo. And she was like, yeah, I don't really feel comfortable with like someone that I don't know coming over. And I was resistant at first, but I was like, all right, well, I could do a virtual appointment. So I did the virtual appointment for her. I sold a signature to her. I asked her for referrals. She's like, I don't know like a ton of people, but I was talking to one of my friends who said she wants to get a set and she would probably just get the same set that I got. And she gave me that one person. I called them. They're like, yeah, you could do it now. And I sold another signature on a virtual. And I was like, I feel pretty good about this virtual thing. Like that's pretty solid. But getting good at virtuals will make it so that when you go back to in-homes, like you're just way better at doing things like building rapport and connecting with your customers, asking valuable questions. Like these are certain things that I'm going to go over. And it will also allow you to book a higher percentage of your calls because it is inherently easier to book virtual appointments than it is with certain people. It is inherently easier to book a higher percentage of the appointments because there's certain people that just like you're not going to be able to get into their home. And that's just how it is. And that's totally cool. But you getting better at virtuals will help you maximize every one of the leads that you have. And I would say a mistake that too many representatives make is they don't make it a mission to like master virtuals. They just say, I'm going to go through the process and do some virtuals. And my like mindset is if you're going to do something, master it. Have the mindset that you're going to become really damn good at it, right? So audio record yourself, right? Look for ways to improve and give us feedback. Bounce ideas off of myself and Lily and the assistant manager staff for ways that we can improve as a team. Spend time and put energy and effort into learning the virtual and also personalizing your virtual for yourself so that it enhances the presentations that you're doing. So some tips are, the first thing is you need to make the presentation fun, right? So like if it naturally, I'm going to go through making it fun. And then I'm going to go through like building rapport. When you're in front of somebody and they get to use the product, you could do the same exact presentation with the same exact tone and the same exact energy. And it's just going to be more entertaining if you're in front of somebody. So one of the things that I should probably teach more that most managers teach their reps is when you phone, that it's a corny saying where it's smile while you dial, right? And like one of the things that you should do is while you're on the phone, like the tone of your voice, being conscious of your speed, your enthusiasm, the words that you emphasize, keeping them engaged by asking questions, like connecting with your customers. Like those are the things that you need to be conscious of. And if you get good at doing those things when you can't see someone's face, you will get so good at doing those things when you can see someone and connecting with someone in person, right? So like, yeah, there are certain things that might be a little more difficult with virtuals at first, but it will enhance every other part of your business. And honestly, like in a lot of businesses, you don't get in front of people. A lot of like businesses, you're just talking to people on the phone, right? So I wrote, I have tips. The first tips that I have in terms of like the demo are rapport, right? So it's making an extra effort to get to know them, tell them about yourselves, and intelligently explaining your goals and sharing your goals, right? So it's not as natural sometimes as if you were in home, but that doesn't mean that it can't be done with effort and being conscious, right? So like saying to yourself, what can I be doing better to engage this person, right? To tie them into me, and being conscious about it. One thing that I really think that a lot of reps make a mistake on virtuals is they don't ask enough questions that there's certain questions that I would ask in a virtual that I might not ask if I was in the customer's home, right? So a question that I would ask on every single virtual is I would 100% know what type of knives those people have, right? So when you're on a demo, they're going to get their knives out for a cutting test. So you don't really need to be like conscious of that. But if you don't like know what they have, it's really hard to offer a solution and be a good customer service representative and help them find a deal, like find products that make sense that will add value to them, right? So I always said, hey, what kind of knives do you have? Do you have like a set, or do you have like mishmash? Do you like them? Right? How long have you had them? Right? Like those are like really good questions that are going to help you when you close. Knowing what they cook. Hey, how often do you cook? Right? Do you like to cook, love to cook, have to cook? What is like your favorite thing to cook? What's like your go-to meal? Like if you were having people over, like what would your go-to meal be? Right. And then what I always say after that is I'm like, ooh, like, when am I coming over? Like, right. Like, I'm asking more questions to get them more involved on a virtual presentation. Right. You want to know another good question is, hey, have you thought like recently about replacing your knives? If there was a piece that you could add to your collection that would add the most value, what types of pieces do you think those would be? Right? Like those are questions that are going to add value to your customers so that you know what they might need and you can offer the best solutions, right? So I don't know if some of you have probably never heard me say this, but the act of closing is not pushing something on someone that they don't need. It's helping the customer find something that they already had a need for, right? So it's when you like do a good job of asking questions to your customers, when you get to the end, it's so much easier to confidently offer that solution than if you have no clue what they need, right? So the next thing, and this is something that isn't just virtual specific, but as you get better at this, it will enhance you in every facet of the business, and it's name dropping, right? So this is something I would say my friend Rob, who told me about the job, he was very good at a few things. And one of them was name dropping, right? And what name dropping is, there are three main times that you use it. It's when on the phone, it's at the beginning of your presentation. It kind of, so that you can, so the reason I say at the beginning of your presentation is what name dropping is it's asking them if they know people that have bought from you or you've done a presentation for that, or people that own Cutco, so that you can use those people as examples, right, to make the customer more comfortable or create a buying atmosphere or create competition for when you close or get referrals, right? So when I was on the phone, I always did, hey, you're like the part of the phone approach where it says, you're probably going to laugh. You probably heard of it before. Have you ever heard of Cutco? And they'll say yes or no. And I'm like, yeah, I've actually seen like a ton of people in the area. And I would name drop as many people as I could that I've done presentations for that live in their town, right? And I would be like, yeah, I've actually sat down with this person, this person, this person, this person. Like everyone's been awesome, and they've just been nice enough to just let me do the presentation because I get credit just for sitting, like just for you sitting down with me, right? And I also love to name drop on the phone when I was booking appointments, because I would say the part where it says I'm actually going to be in your area over the next few days. I'd be like, I'm actually going to be in your area over the next few days. I'm going to be sitting down with, and I would name drop any people that I have appointments booked with. And I would say, do you know any of them? And they'd be like, oh, I know Susie. I'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'm seeing Susie Friday at 12. Would you be able to sit down with me before at like 11 or after at like 1, right? And that was like the way that I would fill up my schedule. Is I would say, then let's say I was seeing Susie at 12 and Kathy said, yeah, you could do 11. I would be like, okay, cool. So the next person I would say, yeah, I'm seeing, do you know Susie and Kathy? And they'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, well, I'm actually sitting down with Kathy at 11 and Susie at 12. Would you be able to sit down with me before Kathy at 10 or after Susie at like 1, right? And that was, there were days where I literally would sit down. I had 8 demos in one day in Short Hills because every one of them I just stacked on top of each other, right? And it gets to a certain point where you're like, oh, yeah, I don't know if you know Karen Kahn or Susan Guzman or Jill Park and blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting down with all of them on Friday. Could you squeeze me in? And they're like, shit, like, I don't want all my friends to be like, why can't you fucking sit down with this kid, right? So this is an idea that I had for you is on Vector Connect, you could see your customer list. So as a more experienced rep, I always had a customer list in my blue book, and you can't really see it, but it has a list of people. It's sorted by towns, right? So I always started and said like, yeah, who do you know? And that way, let's say they point out a few people. In the back of my mind, I knew how many referrals that person gave me, and I knew what set that they got. So that when I showed the sets, I could be like, yeah, so this is our complete set. This is the set that this person has, and this person has, and this person has. This is our signature set. This is the set that these people have. This is our basic set. This set this person has. So that creates like a comfortability, right? Other people are doing it. They're going to feel more comfortable. As a new rep, when I didn't have a big customer list, I had a top customer list, which was basically set owners. Which, by the way, that doesn't necessarily need to be people that bought sets from you. If they own a set of Cutco, you can put them on there, right? Like those are people that you can use as examples. So there was a woman that I sat down with in Mountain Lakes. Her name was Kelly Thompson. Her name is still Kelly Thompson. I don't think she changed her name. Her husband is a professional barbecuer, and they have 2 kitchens in their home. The rule is he cooks for 100 or more, she cooks for 99 or less, and they had a complete set in their upstairs kitchen and a complete set in their downstairs kitchen. And I didn't sell either of those complete sets to them, but every person that I saw in Mountain Lakes, I said, yeah, this is actually the set that Kelly Thompson has in both of her kitchens, right? So it doesn't need to be people that you necessarily sold to. Like you're just saying, yeah, these people have these sets. So I would have a top customer list, which is, it could be 10 plus or 15 plus referrals. And then it could be basic set owners, signature set owners, complete set owners, and you expand that over time. And then that way you're building more social proof. And you're also like, then those customers want to become one of your top customers. They want to get on that top customer list. So that's going to be something that you improve over time. But there were also certain times I sat down with someone, and when I asked for referrals, I knew that like the person that they referred me to gave me a full sheet, and I'll be like, yeah. So I know like Susie gave me a full sheet. I feel like you're like probably twice as cool. So we could go for at least 2, maybe 3, right? And I use that as a competition to beat their friends with referrals, right? So name dropping is something that will help you on virtuals. It will help you on the phone. It will help you in home. It's just a powerful thing to do. For you guys, when you started, a lot of you, I probably asked you where you were from. And then when you told me, I probably tried to think of people that you knew that did well with Vector. And I probably said, oh, do you know this person or this person? And then I was like, yeah, they sold $30,000, right? And my reason for that is because I want you to be like, oh, well, if that fucking schmuck could do it, like I could do it. And like, that's what I should do, right? That's name dropping. That's powerful, right? So for a real quick, God damn it. I want that to go back down. So I have the slides.com. Can you guys see my screen? Just nod yes or no. All right, cool. So obviously, everyone should know just a couple quick things that I'm going to point out. Obviously, in order to edit it, you literally just go to, once you make the copy of it, Lily has the video, so I'm not going to go through everything. But you just click on edit once you have the copy. My computer's going super slow. I'm closing tabs.
For some reason, my screen is showing me, but it said at the top you are viewing Owen Trapp's screen. This is weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But so you'll notice the speaker notes are at the bottom. One thing that I would say is it's okay to customize. Don't change the message, but if you want to, just change the verbiage, right? So all the notes are down here. I would 100%, if I were you, make little tweaks for yourself without like changing like what you're saying, changing how you're going to say it, right? It's super easy to edit this. It's just really, really easy. I'm actually going to go back. So when you want to actually present to somebody, you like after you copy it over, after you make an account, it's free, it's easy. You sign up with Google or Facebook. You go over here to Open Deck, and when you want to present it, you literally just do present, and you send there's a live view. This is why we can't have nice things. So there is or a present live. This is the link you send to the customer. This link it never changes. So like you can have an email template with the link in it that you use every single time. Just have that saved somewhere and it will never change. That's what you send to the customer and they'll see the presentation, and then you open the speaker view. You'll be able to see the notes. You'll be able to see what slide you're on. You'll be able to see the next slide, how long you've been presenting for, how much time. And to me, like Slides is the best platform for being able to present to your customers. It's easy. All they need to do is click on a link. It's customizable. You control what they see, but like actually put some effort into customizing it and making it your own and learning the notes, right? So a couple quick, I'm going to go through the presentation real quick. So obviously the beginning, you should have some stuff about yourself, things that you're excited about and what you're working towards. If you're a student, you should be sharing the scholarship with them. And then there's a power open. So this is something that's a little bit different than the in-home presentation. It's actually something that I did on my in-home presentations. But it's a little, I feel like it's a little harder to teach some newer representatives on their in-homes. But the reason that there is a price comparison at the beginning is because it's a way to burst the price bubble as far away from our products as possible, and also get them to understand why they would invest in a high quality set of cutlery, right? And it builds a high price expectancy, and it builds value in cutlery or investing in things for the home, right? So it's showing like a comparative cutlery, one, like further away, and building that high price expectation. And two, because there's not going to be, you wouldn't pause the video and show it right before you close, right? So it's just, hey, chances are you probably don't go out and price cutlery for fun. Have you ever heard of Henkel's? Well, Henkel's actually the most popular set of knives. Cutco's the most popular set in the United States. But most people don't know this, but Henkel's actually has 10 different grades, and only their 2 highest are actually made by them in Germany. The rest are outsourced to other companies in China, Japan, or Spain. They kind of just put their name on it and mark up the price. And as you could see, a set like this is around $6,000. But you could actually get one that's made in China that you would replace every 2 to 4 years for around $400. Obviously, $6,000 is like a little ridiculous, but at the same time, how much does it cost to like remodel a kitchen, right? It could be tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes upwards or over $100,000 and months of time. And it really doesn't make sense to me how people like go out and spend that much time and money on something, and then they throw a crappy set of knives on the counter, and it doesn't look good, it doesn't work well, and they're replacing it over and over again. It makes a lot more sense to me to invest in the tools that you're going to use every single day. And another thing is like flatware. Do you know how much it costs to get like a good set of like flatware or china? It could be hundreds to thousands of dollars just for a place setting. And it's funny how pretty much everyone I see has those, and you use them like every couple of years when you're waiting for the president or the pope to come over. And then sometimes people invest in that and skimp on the thing that they're using every single day. So yeah, like this type of thing is, it is a little like crazy for the price, but it's an investment. Like it looks way better on the counter. It's a lot more enjoyable. It just changes the experience of cooking. And honestly, if I didn't know about Cutco and I want to get a good set of knives, I would probably get Wusthof. This is Wusthof Icon. Have you ever heard of Wusthof? It's a really good set of knives. So once the presentation's over, you're going to notice some of the differences. And like then you highlight some of the differences between Cutco and Wusthof. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're building value in why they would invest in good cutlery and why they might spend thousands of dollars. Because if they were to spend $6,000 with Cutco, they would literally have every product that we make, right? So if you could do a good job at them seeing the value and why they would spend that type of money early in your presentation before you build the value in Cutco, when you get to the end, it's so easy to close. So we use this for the company page. And one thing that you'll notice is the virtual has 4 promises in it. And this is something that I use as a rep. So before I show you the product, I always like to make 4 promises real quick. So the first is you're going to love the product. It's not cheap. It's not a hunk of junk. It's not something you throw away in a year or two. It's literally something you're going to give to your kids one day. Second, I'm going to ask you if you'd like to get something today, but there's no obligation. Like I wouldn't want you to get it for me. I only want you to get it if it's something you realize that you would use every day for the rest of your life. The third is we're not allowed to go door to door cold call. We're only allowed to see people we've been personally recommended to. So that's like the most important part of my job. If everyone bought from me but didn't recommend me to anyone, I'll just run out of people to see. So at the end, I'm going to ask you for anyone that you know that might just be nice enough to sit down with me. And then the last one is at the end of my presentation, I'm going to give you a form. Oh, by the way, at the end of my presentation, I'm actually going to give you a link to a form to fill out that we'll fill out together before we get off the phone. And the form's the only way I get credit for my presentation. It just takes like 5 minutes. And last, I'm going to try my hardest to impress you in my presentation. But if I'm not perfect, so if you have any like tips or suggestions or anything like that, totally let me know. And that will like really help me out, right? And what that does is it like builds value in the product. It builds value in you and your presentation. It allows you to build, like create a buying and a referral atmosphere. It just kind of like lays out what they can expect, right? Then you go through the disadvantages of common knives, and you go through our handle and our guarantee, right? And really the reason that I have those in there is because the video does a phenomenal job, but it doesn't go through those things in enough depth. And the reason that I wanted to have it so that there was like a little more that you were talking is if the video did the whole presentation for you, I believe that it would be very hard for you to build a relationship with your customer if they just watched a video, and it would be very hard for you to get referrals from your customers. So one of my goals was, what are the slides that we can make where it's the quickest, most efficient possible, while still building maximum value and allowing your personality to be present during the presentation so that you can connect with your customer and get more referrals, right? Then you play the video. So one suggestion, so obvious for anyone who's done a virtual, this is one thing that like you can't play the video and it like play for them. They need to play it. So one thing that I would highly suggest is make sure that you time it correctly, and like mute it on your end and have them put it on speakerphone or something so that you can hear it on their end. and add little things during the video. So the more virtuals you do, the better you'll get at this. If you notice in the notes, there are some like time stamps, and what those are is it's times that they show different products so that you could say something about them, right? Like if you like the trimmer, or you have a customer that like, certain customers that I went to their house and they had 4 trimmers, and I'm like, why do you have 4 trimmers? And they're like, because it's always dirty and I love this knife, right? And if you do a good job at like those little things, that's going to enhance the presentation so much more. And those are like little things where if you just like go quiet for 11 minutes while they watch the video, that's a wasted opportunity for you to build value in the product, like additional value in the product, and build a little bit of a relationship with your customer, right? So you have the opportunity right there to enhance the video by adding just little things. Oh, that's awesome. I love this piece. My mom likes this. I use this for this or that. Those are like little things that like experienced and high level reps will do that newer reps don't, right? So two more quick things and I'll be done in the next 5 minutes. So in terms of closing, this is a mistake that I feel like too many reps make, is if you don't see the person in front of you, like they don't ask in a confident way. So you'll notice that in our virtual, I gave like other specials down here. And the reason that I did that was I did that so to design the deals to give them such an awesome deal that they buy that day, right? So for example, the essential set literally is they could get 5 free table knives, and so they could get the essentials plus 5 for the price of the basic essentials. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do that because that's a really good deal. I was like, what if everyone takes that deal? And then I was like, honestly, if everyone takes that deal and we get a $350 CPO sale on every virtual, who gives a shit, right? Like at 30%, you made over $100 in 30 minutes from your living room, right? So like the homemaker, they could either get the ice cream scoop and the veggie peeler, or a cheese knife on top of the shears for free, right? The complete set or the signature set, they could get a entertainer pack, which is an ice cream scoop with the kitchen tools and an entertainer pack. But ask confidently, like those are really good deals. So if you ask confidently, you will get way more sales. And what a lot of reps don't do, and this is what is going to take you to the next level in terms of closing, is ask questions that will lead to a sale, right? So a lot of reps make the mistake of, if the customer says, I'm not sure, or I don't think so, or whatever, that a lot of reps will be like, okay, do you want to see other stuff? Or they'll go to recommendations. But ask questions that will like direct you to a sale, or at least a better understanding of where your customer's mind is, right? So like if they're like, oh, that's a little bit too much, a good question is, well, a good question if they say it's a little too much is, okay, just so I know, when you say like it's a little too much, do you mean like the 5-pay price is a little too much, or the paid in full price is a little too much, right? That's a really valuable question to understand. If they say the paid in full, I would be like, hey, I totally understand. I'm sorry, because I probably didn't do a good job explaining it. But that's why we have the 5-pay. It just makes it way more manageable. It just breaks it up over 5 months. So it would just be this. Is that something you feel like you might be able to fit in your budget, right? If they said even the 5-pay is a little much, a question I would ask is, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like, I totally understand that. What is a price point that you would be more confident spending today, right? If they're like, I don't know, I need to think about it. Hey, what is it that you're unsure of that I can help you clarify, right? What could I do to help you feel confident enough to place an order today? Is there something that you may be interested in adding to your collection, right? Like, those are questions that are going to lead to sales, and also help you actually add more value to your customers, right? So if you notice, you can on here, you can go down and it has other set options built into it. It has table knives. It has individual pieces. It has flatware. You could go to the right and it has the flatware, right? You go to the right again and it has the cookware, right? And it has the options for cookware. It also has gadgets. It has garden tools. And one thing I would say is show everything. Like, even if you do it quickly, show everything, because there are certain times where customers would buy if they knew that it was there, right? And then there's also there's the website. So one thing about the website is so just like the video, this is something that you have to walk them through. You can't control it for them, but you can have them scroll through the website real quick and just say, hey, why don't we look through the website and see if there's anything that you would be interested in trying, right? So there's the website, and then the last thing is referrals. So a lot of you have heard me give a talk on recommendations, but you need to raise your enthusiasm, stress the importance and the value to you, and make it fun, right? You need to help them build their list. You can't just say, all right, give me referrals and just be quiet, right? You have to have them complete it while you're on the phone with them. And another thing is, you can always throw me under the bus and use me as leverage if it helps you make more money. So if they're like, oh, could I do this later? Or could I just give you a couple? It's like, my manager's like a real jerk and he will beat me with a phone book if I don't like get as many referrals as possible. So can we at least get a couple? Like, who do you know that's super nice? Who do you know that loves to cook? And asking thought joggers that will help like build the list for you, right? Like, just make it fun. Like, actually have the tonality and the enthusiasm when you get to referrals that make your customer feel like you act like what you're saying in terms of referrals being super important is something that is a truth to you, and you will get referrals. So honestly, like I said earlier, I am not overly enthusiastic about the fact that like the world is like ending, and that we have a pandemic, and that literally I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. There's so much crazy shit going on, but there is so much opportunity for us to like, not only to make an impact on ourselves, but literally we can impact the entire company right now. And virtuals are awesome. It's something that is a massive area of opportunity for us to continue to improve. And we need a few people on our team to step up and fight to get good at them and show people what's possible and help us improve them. So I appreciate you guys. I know I went a little bit over. I'm like super proud of the team for our phoning efforts tonight. And honestly, we're about to fuck shit up. So I will stay on if anyone has any questions, but I really appreciate everyone. Does anyone have any questions?